Good evening. I'm going to ask you to please share this out. Hi, April. How are you? Good that you're on here tonight. So I'm just going to give it a minute and I'm going to actually just invite a few more people. And if you're so inclined to share this out, please do. I'm going to start talking in about 90 seconds. Okay, April, it's just you and I. But I'm going to begin. So we've been talking about agendas and we've been talking about putting out information. And I'm going to do just that. And I'm sure that a lot of people are going to have mixed views about it. But I wanted to come on tonight because I see an overall tone about extraterrestrial life, planetary existence, our true origins, how we came to be. And there's much debate about alien civilizations. And I wanted to take it down a notch because I see that people go in different facets. And you're living in a world where it is multidimensional. And there are a lot of programs that are connected with the human agenda. So we get all that. But again, I want to simplify it because these discussions are really now about the origins of us. So even if we take the information and we want to become masters or expert on these subjects, are we really? The whole quest is to free humanity. So what I say when people, tell me, Teresa, well, I'm on the 12th Council, and the 12th Council is made of this, and this is what's in the books, and, this is the alien life, and there's many civilizations. I, who ponder and who learn for myself, I have a knowing, and some things fall in my lap, and I go accordingly. And I go over things a lot, and I'm like, look, we're still in the same trap. And I think the questions should be reversed. I really do think the questions should be reversed. Mankind is waiting for extraterrestrials or higher beings, divine beings, or beings who travel to other levels, whether you're in the 3D dimensional, whether you are in the 4D dimensional, etc., so on, and how it goes. Mankind is always searching out, and that's a cool thing because the intelligence and the manner that we have streamlined our own awareness is astonishing. But honestly, aren't you guys tired that it's only the story of them and what they're doing? When is it going to become the story of us? And I've pondered that for a really long time. And I see how we get so distracted. So let me ask you this. Be honest with yourself because many of us come up on platform and speak. And we start to weed out. And many people's words are very elegant and they are very convincing because honestly, if people feel hopeless and if people need inspiration, they're going to gravitate towards what they could resonate with, right? And all that is great because sacredness comes in many shapes and forms. I want to go past that because we always get stuck on that. But where are the answers for mankind? How do we utilize what we do in the flesh here? What does our immortality mean? Why are we so afraid of the demons and speaking to a council of 12? We are so ready to speak about the leaders on this planet that we think are human or subhuman or the evil agendas that we forget that we are giving our power away to the planetary, right, diversity of the universe. And if you look at this belt that our planet orbits around, and you could see how life could form. And even if you want to take it another step and say that it was divine creation or extraterrestrial life that saw this planet had water, life-giving water, and we start to go back, we start to see the human bondage, and there's a lot of human bondage, right? And it comes in all shapes. So yeah, I get it. Like, why can't we just have a conversation and talk about our origins? Why is it given away if we're the ones who have been waiting for it? And I think that that's a stalemate in our community. I think it's a stalemate in our hearts. And I, for one, have pushed the bar, and I'm going to continue pushing the bar. And I get kind of frustrated because it's the same old story, you know? The same old story of division and creation being screwed up, and us as the human wave band waiting for signs and motions, when if it is in us, why can't we talk about these things? Why are people so afraid to say, well, I get you, and you know, if that's the way you believe and you are so convincing, then you have to be able to put plans together. I, for one, have no problem talking to the elders and the Galactic 12, so they be. You see, this is the false narrative. It's always above and beyond, and the downloads. Those downloads now affect your breed on this planet. And where are you? And why are you so afraid? And why do you keep looping? Because nobody wants to talk about the enslaved mentality. So, in introduction, controversial material that'll stimulate you to search for your own is all we ask. Because you want the truth, but you're still searching for the truth, and you're still waiting for the truth to come, yet you believe it lives in your DNA. And when you exercise that, and that starts to vibrate in you, you understand how it connects with all that is going on today. Your power struggles, your quest for notoriety, your power thirst, organizations. You see, it all ties in, and then you can understand why they keep people addicted to drugs, why we are part of a population that is looked down upon, right? And what is it that we are searching for? And again, all the inspiration, all the love, all the knowledge is great when people are actually learning. But there's many things that people say that they have on authority, and they really don't. Because you are still going after the extraterrestrial part of it. Where's the divineness, right? That you have living in you. Where does that come in? Because if you look at the sons and daughters of the extraterrestrials, the gods, they have more problems than us. So when do we rise up and say no more? We're on a fair ground, and you should take this parable and you should actually dissect it for your own self, because it has a lot to do with how you live. And there's so many diversities, because people are living through holograms, and you know, they're living through many different realities, and they're like, if you can't beat them, join them. And there's such a cluster bomb going on that you don't even look within your own species. We're the prize, we're the king. And it affects your everyday life, because you're still looking for somebody to motivate and lead you, and as they motivate and lead you, you don't care as long as you don't have to do the work where it's leading you to. So when I parallel the Anunnaki, people get so insulted so quickly, and I want to say, stop being insulted and start rising up. Because if you parallel one, you can parallel all. And if you are invoking, then what are you invoking? And if you have the spirit in you to move heart and soul, your heart will move, and you can maintain ground. We're censored. It's an old story. People don't want to help. It's an old story. People are cliquey. It's an old story. People are giving inspiration out, and off camera they're very different people. It's an old story. And you take these things in transformation and you're like, wow, where if we are getting all this information in, where does it really lead us? And if you are on councils and you are sitting there and know the difference between a meditation and a vision and what you see, then actually stating you go before the council. Because you know what? The truth of the matter is that there's many questions for the council. So I say, why don't we start within our own divisions, right? Our own human divisions, and take it all back. Because what we're waiting for is actually looping us. We have the remedy right in front of us. And yes, we are slaves to a system. And yes, we are dependent. And yes, we all want freedom, but when we have to take that check, we will take that check. None of us are above or below that. These are principles. These are things that you should be able to take apart, how they apply to you, whether it's in money, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in anything that you desire to come forth. And can you do it with style and grace? And why is it that you never want to address a question? Questions are hard sometimes, but nonetheless, after the conversation is over, you can still be who you are. And yes, you have to gear up for this. There's homelessness, there's rape. Well, you know, people think of rape as only a sexual assault, but there's many different types of rape. There's many different types of greed. There's many different types of many things that fall in and are in integration with a crumbling system. And gods that rule this earth, evil or not, that are out of control. So if you are telling me that the gods are looking but they can't intercede, I'm saying, well, that's a huge inconvenience, because they want to be worshipped and they want their knowledge to be applied, but it's our knowledge, because we live on this planet, that we should take back. And we should say, hey, wait a minute, you screwed us up for a long time. Let us show you how to do it. And that's how we will introduce the parallel between a civilization that happens to have fell into my lap with a knowing, and they're just confirmations to what I always know to be true, or know in my heart that it makes sense. And I'm just going to simplify it and turn the story around into the story of us. And it'll be controversial. You will question God. You will question the gods. You will question yourself. You will question the planet. You will see how everything is parallel, but yet how everything was written. And you will take notice then to a system where if the human is to rise up, you are going to rise up within your own self. So let me clarify, Raphael, and I want you to be very quiet and listen. I don't want you to jump off the handle. Although I love you, you make me crazy. I am putting out material. Now, I understand, Raph, that there is a lot of information out there. We could go Green Mothers, we could go Reptilian, we could go Lemurian, we could go A, B, and C. I want to push that aside. For me, to understand the story of humans, I paralleled some things with the Anunnaki. It's not something that I am saying that anyone has to believe. I turned it around for us to look at us. Put the evil aside, put the goings on that's coming here. If they could understand, if we could understand the enslaved mentality, Ralph, which we're not doing a great job as it is, because there's so much. If we could hone it down and then they could apply it to whatever they assimilate with, we could get down to some basics here. Because the story of us is really how we rise above it, because we understand the story of them. At least some of us do. And there is a lot going on in this planet that we will lose if we do not come together. So in preparation, because if you talk about one thing, if you say something about the Anunnaki, you have 100 people coming down to be experts. That's great. If you say something about the reptilians, you have 100 people coming down to be experts. experts, but if you have the basis, and those are examples, I could go on, I don't want to. If you have the basis of where the evil stems from and how the creation happened, then it's up to the humans, divine, humanoid, you know, turn your DNA around, meet the holy maker, understand the ancient civilizations, and come together and start applying it here. Because there's something off in our dialogue. We're too busy giving them all the credit and being in fear. So if you're going to take it back, you're going to have to confront them. And if you could do it with one parallel, and then you could apply it anywhere you want, you can know a lot of things. You know how the asteroid belt was created. You could see how the records were laid down. You are not afraid to face it because you know the consequences if you don't. So that's where I'm going with that, Raph, and that's why I don't want to make a big thing out of what everybody else does, because I think we stop turning our stuff into this continuous debate and say, hey, yeah, we know there's a lot of information. We know people get it different ways, but this is the story of us, right? How do we rise above them? And I know we could do it. So peace out, namaste, share this out, and we'll see where it goes from here. Bye-bye.